Good morning, class. Afraz, change your name to your roll number. And roll number 50. Kindly log in through your audio if he's able to hear me first thing. Okay. So yesterday I've stopped with timestamp based protocol. We were doing that some part, but that I'll do after I complete this starting part of a fourth unit. Then I'll go to that. Okay, because this Zoom is having an issue. I cannot open two files one after the other. If I open one, only that is there. Okay, so we'll start with transaction. Okay, now what is a transaction basically? What do you mean by transaction? It is nothing but it's you are performing some operations, okay, which is nothing but some logical operations. Suppose let's take this example: a particular transaction is happening. Okay, okay. Suppose let me take some A is sending 50 rupees to B through online transaction. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll read the amount available A's account, then we'll minus the amount which we want to transfer to B, that is 50 rupees. Okay, update the A's account. Okay, then read the B's account and add that 50 rupees to B's account and update it. Okay, that is nothing but one example of a transaction. Okay, now what happens here is basically, now suppose you have read the amount available in account A. Okay, you have removed the 50 rupees from his account and written in and updated the account A. Okay, now when this happens, during this process suppose there's a system error or something has happened and it got failed, and write A, after write A it has failed. So what happens is nothing but the transaction is incomplete basically. Okay, okay, so that is, it is in inconsistent state. Your database is basically in inconsistent state. So what next happens is, either that particular transaction is aborted there and rolled back. That is nothing but, rollback is nothing but, again it is started from starting. It is aborted then and there, again it is rolled back, and again it is restarted. Okay, but the basic thing is, if it has failed, it has to abort. That is nothing but one of the properties of transaction, that is atomicity. Now who is this doing it? Next, we'll see the properties of transaction. Those are asset properties. One is atomicity, that is all or none, sorry. Now what does this mean? Either transaction shall execute completely or it should not at all execute. Okay, and why we do this? To maintain the consistency of database. Now what is consistency? That is the next property. Okay, now before a transaction has started, before any transaction has started, suppose when a transaction account A amount was 5,000. Okay, and after the completion of the transaction, it should be 6,000. Okay, 6,000, it should be 6,000. That is nothing but, before transaction it should be 5,000, after transaction it should be 6,000. So consistency means, before any operation happening or any transaction happening, it was 5,000. Okay, that is the consistent state of the database, and after transaction also it should be in 6,000. That is a consistent database. Okay, or else if there is an issue while performing this transaction, that is nothing but, it has either got failed due to some hard disk, due to some logical error, due to some network issues. Okay, or the transaction was some issue with the transaction itself, so it should go back to the its original state. Okay, next we'll see durability. Now what do you mean by durability? Now we have done the execution of transactions. Okay, we have done the updations and everything. Okay. Now durability means after the execution of transaction, okay, the updation of the data to the database is maintained by a recovery manager. That is nothing but called as durability. Okay. Next, there are few states in transaction. Okay, the first state is active state, where your transaction starts executing. Then after that you have partial committed. Nothing, that is nothing but your transaction has started the execution, it has completed it, but not committed. Okay, that is partial committed. Okay, if it is completed, the transaction is completed and committed, then it is partial execution. If the transaction, yeah, diagram. Okay, if the transaction is in execution, then it is active. It has completed its execution but not committed, then it is partially committed. If it has completed and committed, then it is in committed state. Okay, if there is a power loss and any other thing occurs, okay, fine, and any logical error, transaction error, then it is called as failed. And who is this doing all those dramas here? If you are listening, kindly listen, or else you can leave. Okay, next is abort state. Okay, now what do you mean by abort? Aborting is nothing but due to some hardware or software, that is nothing but any issues in transaction while executing, or any, yeah, suddenly a system has lost its connectivity, or system hardware failure in anything. In such type the particular transaction is aborted. Okay, as we know, transaction is failed. Basic transaction, whenever it is failed, when it fails due to some power loss or something, when it is failed, either it is aborted. Okay, either it is aborted, or sorry, aborted and rolled back. Okay, now after that, suppose now you want to kill a transaction. That is nothing but a particular transaction, it was executing, but due to some software error, okay, it got stuck and you're killing it. That is nothing but whenever we perform kill, that is nothing but it's a logical error. Whenever we perform a kill operation, we it is basically done due to some logical error. Okay, and restart it. Next, what is concurrent execution? Basically, concurrent execution is nothing but running running more than one transactions, or more than two transactions, basically. Sorry, running more than one transaction simultaneously or parallelly, or what you even called as concurrently. No, the other name of parallel is concurrently. Okay, that is known as concurrent execution. Now, whenever there is a concurrent execution, that is nothing but basically interleaving of operations within transaction happens. That is nothing but, you can say, preemption. You are speaking, in OS you speak about preemption. Now what do you mean by preemption? Suppose a transaction is executing some code here, then it is switched, and now transaction T2 code is running. Okay, now the switching from T1 to T2 in between is nothing but it's called as context switching, or preemption, or interleaving. Okay, and why do we do that? Basically is nothing but, you have seen in OS that priority based preemption. Okay, uh, and the transaction which is having, or the particular job which is having maximum priority, that is executing, or the particular transaction which is a big, that is being executed, or the transaction which is having small, that is executed, and you know all the drawbacks of those. So that's what we do, context switching, basically. Okay, now after that, when we are doing context switching, there are some anomalies which happen. Now what do you mean by anomalies? Is basically there are some conflicts that actually happen here. Okay, as we have already said, that is read read. Read read is not at conflict. Read write is conflict. Write read is conflict, and write write is conflict. Okay. The first one is lost update problem. That is nothing but whenever a particular transaction is transferring the data A to B. Now that is nothing but you're doing some operation, that is nothing but transferring a data. So you're performing write on A, whereas T2 also is creating 2% of amount in A. So both A are writing in transaction T1 and transaction T2. Both the transactions are doing write operation in T1 and T2. Okay, now that becomes an issue. And why does that happen? Suppose, okay, this also, here we have an example directly. Okay, so here we are reading A value. You have taken A value has transaction T1. What it performs is A1 is sending 100 rupees to B, whereas A has been credited with 2% to its actual amount. Okay. Now R of A is reading its value, that is 2000, and if we subtract 100 from it, okay, 1900. Now what happens after some time? Okay, it is interleaved. Okay, or preemption is done, or context switching is done. Now R of A is happening. That is nothing but reading of data item A. So what it will read? It will read the actual value. That is nothing but 2000. At the starting 2000 will be read. Okay. And based on that, you're crediting the amount. Okay. And writing it. Okay. That is nothing but 2040. Okay. Now again it is interleaved. Okay, and suppose you are writing write of A here. Now once write of A is done, it is updating the value in your account. That is nothing but after 2000 you are performing 2000, you are updating it. That is nothing but 2040 rupees. Now after this writing, again the transaction A is writing. What it has done before interleaving, what has happened? You have subtracted the amount. You have to write the amount in the account. Okay, you have to write the particular amount of A in the account. Now before amount was 2040. Now next amount is 1900. Okay, now what it is happening here? First it was 2040 rupees. Now it is 1900. Okay, now you can see that the data which we have updated, that is wrong. Then after it, that is wrong. Now if we take this data, if we take the 2% of data that is updated, then this value which we get is wrong. So before value and now present value both are inconsistent. This is nothing but called as write conflict. Okay, now next is write read conflict. Okay, now let us come to this example. Now what is write read conflict? Suppose the same example has above, only thing is that after that we are reading a particular, we are performing a particular read. Okay, after that we are performing a particular read and the same steps we are doing, that is write of A. So what is value now here? 918. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay, we are reading particular operation. Okay, here what we are doing, first we are reading A value, updating it, that is nothing but 900. So we have updated 900 here. Okay, after that we are reading the A value, that is nothing but 900. Why? Because we have written the A amount back to the account, that is 900. So the transaction T2 is reading A amount, that is 900. Okay, and we are creating the data based on this. Okay, adding the data, and what output we get is 9.8. Now that 9.8 we are updating here. Okay, now we have done this write of A. Now when we come back to transaction T1, it is reading the data of B. Okay, it is reading the data of B, and after reading the data, the amount which we have removed from A account, we are storing in B and updating the value. Okay, now can you see the first amount of A was 1000 and B was 2000. So whatever output we get at last, it should be, its sum should be same as the one in the previous state. That is nothing but 1000 plus 2000 is 3000. So after performing the transaction, this also should be 3000 if we add them A and B. And is it 3000? No. That's what is called as write read conflict. What happened here? The write operation with transaction T1 has done. Okay, that is 900. Okay, that data is read by transaction T2. Okay, this transaction T2 is reading the data which is updated by transaction T1. Okay, so basically it is reading some stale value, that is nothing but write read conflict. Okay, now next is unrepeatable read problems. Okay, now that is nothing but write read problem or read write problem. Let us see this. Sorry. It's a read write problem. Now let us see this. We are reading a value, okay, at particular time. After that, some time after that, at 10:05 we are reading again a value. Okay, and we are subtracting it. Suppose let me take a value as 1 itself. Okay, I'm taking a value as 1. Okay, it has read one value 1. After some time T2 has come, it was also read a value 1. It has subtracted the value, it became 0, and write of a has been updated 0. Okay, has been updated 0. Now what happens is, again the transaction after interleaving, it comes here and reads again. But what does it find? It is 0. But before, when it read, what was it? It was 1. Okay, so this is nothing but called as read write conflict, because for the first time when it read, it was 1, but the second time when it is reading, it is reading 0 again. That is nothing but called as read write conflict. Okay, so these are the 3 basic conflicts in everything you will find. Okay, that is nothing but read write conflict, write read, and write write conflict. Okay, and read read is not a conflict, because 2 different transactions can read the same data. Okay, reading is never a problem. I can see one account, even my friend can see the same account. Okay, now I have said you that we are performing 2 to 3 transactions every time. Okay, here we are saying 2 transactions, but you can have more than one. That is nothing but 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions. So these all transactions together are nothing but called a schedule, which I've already said. Okay. Now, what is serializable and what is not serializable? So basically, what do you mean by serializable is nothing but whatever transaction you perform. Okay, suppose you are performing some transaction, you have transaction T1, you have transformed transaction T2. So whatever output you get, you get, okay, that should be same. Okay, that output should be same as when you execute it in serial order. That is nothing but first, suppose here first T1 has come. Okay, so let us take an example. With example, we'll do it. The amount in account A is data item value is 1000. Okay, we have done minus 50, so 950 amount. Okay, okay. After that, A value is 950. That's okay. Now RA is reading again 950. Based on that, the operations we got 855. Okay, then next we are reading R of B. Okay, that is 2000, and we are the 50 that we have minus, we are transferring to B, and it becomes 2050. Okay, now after that we have R of B. Okay, now what is R of B value? Here we have done 2050 rupees, that it has read, because we are writing this in database. Okay, that it has read 2050, and we are adding the X value, B plus X, that is nothing but X value is 95. Okay, X value is 95, and after that what we get is 2145. Okay, now what happens is, this transaction, okay, this transaction individually, whenever we perform this single operation, okay, whatever output we get, okay, singly, it should be same as we are getting in concurrent, then only that particular transaction is said to be, okay, is said to be a serializable. Okay, that is nothing but basically you can also say it as, okay, after T1 is executing, then T2 is executing. Okay, T1 is followed by T2. Whereas you see this, first T1 is executing, T2 is executing, but the output which we get here, it is not the same as we usually get in serial order. Okay, the output which we get is not same as we got in serial order. That's what it is not a serializable schedule. Okay, and whenever we say serializable schedule, okay, it can be of two types. One is T1 determines T2, or T1 is followed by T2. That is nothing but first T1 is executed, then T2 is executed. Okay, or T2 followed by T1. That is nothing but first T2 is executed, then T1 is executed. Okay, these are two types of serializability. Okay, now when we are speaking with serializability, basically nowadays all concurrent executions only are done. So how do you find that a this particular schedule is following serializability or not? That is with help of two operations. That is, one is conflict serializability and the other is view serializability. Okay, now basically conflict serializability, it says that, okay, let us come to an example. Let's say, yeah, a conflict serializability, what it basically says is it uses a precedence graph, and it says that this, if we are doing T1 follows T2 or T2 follows T1, there should not be a cycle formed in that particular precedence graph. Then only it is a conflict serializable. Okay, that then only there is an equivalent serializable schedule done. Okay, now let us take this example and see how we are saying that it is a conflict serializable. Okay, now in transaction T1 we are reading a value, writing a value, then again we are reading a value and writing a value. Okay, that is nothing but after reading of T1 we are going to T2. Okay, and this is a conflict. So what we do is, whenever there is a conflict, we draw an H here. Okay, same thing here from RB, that is nothing but in transaction we are reading B value and writing B value. After that again we are reading B value in T2, then writing B value in T2. That is nothing but we are performing T1, then we are going to T2. That's what, first T1, then T2, and the after T1 is followed by T2. Okay, that means basically you can perform the operations. What you can do is, there can be a serial schedule like this. Now what does that mean is, you can have read of A, write of A, read of B, write of B, then after that you can have in transaction T2, from here you can start read of A, write of A, read of B, write of B. Okay, so whenever a particular schedule is conflict serializable, that is nothing but it is satisfying serializability. You can have an equivalent serial schedule for this particular schedule. Okay, and there is a one more example where you find read of A, yes, then read of A, write of A. Since there is a conflict from T1 to T2, so we are drawing an edge from T1 to T2. Then after write of A, read of B. Then again you have write of A. Okay, and this is conflict with read of A. Okay, that means from T2 it will go to T1. So that's what we are drawing an edge. From T2 it is going to T1. Again it is reading read of A, write of B, write of B. Okay, Now, in this precedence graph, okay, let me make it clear. When we are doing this edges, whenever you are having a conflict, okay, you have a read of A, T2 is again reading, so no conflict, but it is also writing. So it is a conflict between T1 and T2. So after T1, T2 is happening. Okay, and it is forming a cycle like this. Whenever it is forming a cycle, then it is not conflict serializable. Okay, now what does this mean is, whenever it is not a conflict serializable, basically it means that a particular schedule is not in serial order, or it is not following, it is not satisfying serializability. Okay, now since your conflict serializable says that, with the help of precedence class, that if there is a cycle, if there is a cycle in precedence graph, then that particular schedule is not serializable. Okay, so next, since it has said that the particular schedule has failed, is not serializable, so we shift to view serializability. Okay, now view serializability is nothing but it says that, let me show you what example. Okay, now it says that for a particular transaction, okay, this particular schedule, if we have seen that we have gone through conflict serializability, it has given us an output that it is not serializable, so we next shift to view serializability. In view serializability, we try to make that, we try that the particular, all the transactions of T1 we move it to up, and all the transaction we move it to down. Okay, that is nothing but first transaction T1 is executed, then T2 is executed. Okay, now with this, after doing this, we check, okay, we check that any operation which is performed, when any output what we get here after the execution is same in this particular schedule also. If both are same, then it is called as view serializability. Okay, then that means it is satisfying the serializability. I hope you have understood what is view serializability. If you have a schedule given, okay, and this schedule has not satisfied, there was a cycle here, you have write read, write and okay, you have write read and write conflict there. Okay, now after that you have write conflict also. Okay, so it is not, basically not satisfying. Suppose it is forming a cycle, so it is not satisfied with conflict. So once we come to view, what we do is we try to push all the transactions together. Okay, either it can be T2 follows T1 or T1 follows T2. We do that. Okay, and after that we execute both the schedules, and after executing both the schedules, if the output are same, then we say it as it is view serializable. Okay, they are given one example here where we are performing read. This is the transaction, okay, which has not satisfied conflict serializability, so we'll check view serializability. So as I've said, you try to push all the statements of T1 up. Okay, why? Because first it is going T1, T2, T3. So what I'll do, I'll push all the operations of T1 up, then T2, then T3. Okay, and now I'll add some data. Suppose, let me say, I'll add subtract x value or y value, perform some operations. After performing those operations, what I get in this schedule, and in this, and we get the same thing we perform is in s dash schedule, we get the same data, then it is called as view serializability. Okay, after that we have recoverable schedule and non-recoverable schedule. Okay, now what do you mean by basically recoverable schedule? Okay, it's basically says that a recoverable schedule is one where where for each pair of transactions Ti, Tj, such that Tj reads a data item previously written by Ti, the commit operation of Tj must appear after the commit operation of Ti. So basically it's saying here, just the example. So basically here what we are saying, it has read transaction T1 has performed till write of A. Now next read of A is happening. Okay. Now since read of A is happening, it is reading the value of write of A. Okay, it is reading the value of write of A, not the actual value which was previously. Okay, after that is performing some operation. Okay, then it is interleaved and read uh, data item of B and perform some operation. And suppose there is a failure. Okay, there is a failure. So what it does, it rollbacks. Now once this is rolled back, even transaction T2 has rolled back. Why? Because it has read the data which is written by transaction T1. Okay, that's why it has been rolled back. Okay, and the condition here is for recurable, the commit of this transaction T2 should be after the commit of transaction T1. Then only rollback can happen, or else it cannot be performed. Okay, same example we have seen, the previous same example we are seeing here. Okay, let us go here only, go through that. Now suppose this commit is just to after the write of this commit. Okay, if this particular commit is here basically after write of A. Now what happens? Okay, this T2 has read the data from T1. It has performed all the operations. If there's a commit here, it has committed. That is nothing but database is also updated. Okay. Now what happens after sometimes if this T1 operation fails? Okay, that is T1 fails, it gets rolled back. But what about T2? Now the T2, whatever it is reading, it is basically reading some stale value, right? Whatever it has read, it is not correct. Whatever it has read, it is not correct basically. Okay, so that is nothing but non-recoverable schedule. So I hope you all understand what is recoverable, what is not recoverable. Now after that, we'll see cascading rollbacks. Cascading rollbacks. Okay. Now we have seen in non-recoverable schedule that this particular T1, T2, T3 are executing here. We are reading, writing some operation, then this reading, writing. Okay, then T2 also is reading some writing. But what happens here is whatever data T1 is writing, T2 is reading it. Okay, now whatever data T2 is reading, T3 is writing, T2 is writing, T3 is reading it. So suppose there is a failure for transaction T1. So what happens? Again rollback. Now this will trigger T2 also to roll back, right? Because T2 is reading the item which is read by T1. Okay, now this rolls back. Now this affects T3, that rolls back. If T4 is there, again that rolls back. This is nothing but called as cascadeless rollback. That is nothing but a single transaction failure leads to a series of transaction rollback. That is nothing but called as cascading rollbacks. Okay. Next we see cascadeless schedule. Now what happens in cascadeless schedule is you are reading and writing some operation and committing it. Now once you have committed, then transaction T2 reads. Okay, there's nothing but solution for cascading rollbacks. There we have seen after executing all the transaction, executing all the operations, then it is committing here. Okay, here we see after performing all the transactions, then it is committing here. Okay, and just because of that, if there's a failure in between for transaction T1, okay, it rolls back, that triggers transaction T2, it rolls back, that triggers transaction T3, it rolls back. Whereas for cascadeless schedule, what we do is those commit, we push it up. After the operation of read A and read B, we commit it. Okay, now next T2 reads the data. Now it is reading from database. Okay, because this is committed, so whatever there in database, it is reading the data, writing to it and committing. Okay, this is called as cascadeless schedule. Okay, now here if suppose after transaction T1 before committing there is a failure here, so what happens? Only T1 will get rolled back, not T2, because T2 it is reading the data only after T1 is committing, not before that. Okay, so only one transaction will roll back. Okay, so that's all for today. Tomorrow I'll complete of timestamp based protocol. We have done with multiple granularity. Okay, validation based protocol also has, if I know. Okay, only one timestamp based protocol is in fourth unit, that will complete and we'll jump to third unit. Okay, thank you for today.